are you based out of?
Sorry?
So where are you based out of?
I'm from the UK, north of UK.
Nice. Okay. Well, that would explain the accent. I'm from Texas, which would explain my accent.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's cool, man. I see it says on here, Graph Inc. What's your name, just so I know who I'm talking to?
Talha. You can just call me T
Okay.
though.
All right. What's up, T? What's going on, man?
Nothing much. Just come here to talk about my agency and all. So yeah, get some
Let's
advice if
hear
you.
it. Yeah, absolutely. I would love to learn a little bit more about what you do, what you sell. Tell me about that, and maybe where some of your roadblocks are, and we'll go from there.
So I'm 19 years old and just started my agency like a month ago or something with my sister. So I handle more of
Okay.
like the business and technical side of things, and she's the graphic
Yeah.
designer, which we do branding right now. Um,
Okay.
And as of right now, it's a case of building trust because we haven't actually got any clients yet. And if we are going to ask someone to pay for our service, they're going to need to trust us. So currently, that's what we're
Sure.
doing right now.
Yeah, I would just say sure. Okay, so that makes sense. So no clients yet. Graphic branding. Talk to me about like the offer. Like what exactly? If I was your client, like what would I get and what would I pay?
So, what our values are is essentially creating a brand that feels like you. So, our belief says that any brand has a target audience in mind, and you need to be able to connect to your target audience. And your brand is essentially a person, and we need to bring that person to life.
Yeah.
So, it all revolves around you. And our offer is to allow you to connect with your community through your branding.
Okay.
People will want to, people need to choose you. People you know, why should they choose you over someone else? And that will be how you connect with them.
Okay. Got it. And so, what have you done so far? What's been kind of your strategy as far? Because I'm assuming right now, like the goal is, hey, let's get our first client, then obviously let's get some more clients after that. So, what have you done so far? Like, talk to me about outreach and that kind of stuff.
So far, our outreach is essentially just trying to find local brands, local businesses to do free work for. And we've created sort of our lowest price service. We're doing that for free right now for local brands and businesses. So far, we've only had two, and I plan to get maybe another four in this month, which is where I'm struggling with is finding local brands and businesses that are wanting to expand.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, why local specifically as opposed to like, more national?
Just familiarity breeds trust.
So I'm gonna make sure. Byron, what's up, man? How you doing?
About
Yeah.
Doing well, bro. How about
What's
yourself?
up, man? Good to see you. Just to kind of fill you in, we're talking about T over here is working. He's got a branding agency. He is working to get. He's got some clients that he's working with for free, but now it seems like he wants to get a couple more free clients and maybe move to the paid stuff. But maybe by the end of the conversation, we'll have him getting some paid clients. So we'll see. We'll see how it all goes. But okay, so you were saying local businesses because for what reason?
just because if they're local, they're more likely to trust us, just because of the familiarity.
Okay. I might challenge you on that one, but how has the results been so far on the free work side? Have people been happy with it, or what's been happening?
Yes, so far, we've got through one and we're just starting the other one right now. And so far, they've both clients have been happy, but I think that's more of a thing because it's free. They don't really have much room to
Sure.
complain about things. Um,
Hard to complain about free shit.
yeah, exactly. And so it's a thing
Sure.
of I need to improve the process, first of all. Um, So that's what I'm working on right now, just sort of on the offside because it's not a priority whilst we're doing free work.
Yeah.
Um, Maybe towards the end of it, I'll put that on like the front end. But right now, it's also a thing of creating more content so we can get some traction online.
Okay. And then just I want to make sure I understand outreach process for these local businesses. Are you emailing them, calling them? Like what's your outreach process?
Call DMs right now, just call
Okay.
DMs.
Got it. Okay, a couple of things just right off the top that I would recommend. You've already
Mm,
done two clients for the free work, I would assume that you can use that work as like examples of past work that you've done. And if the clients were happy, I would imagine they'd be happy to give you some sort of review or testimony or whatever else. Personally, I think you're past the free work phase. I think that you've done enough free work. For a lot of reasons. Number one, free work you're not going to be super excited about, so the work's probably not going to be as good as if somebody was paying you. You probably put more effort into it. Number two, like you said, people don't take free shit. Well, you didn't say they can't complain, but people don't take free shit as seriously. So they're not going to be as invested in the process if they do that. And number two, you've already got a couple of results there. So I would say that it's time to move past the free work thing. And if you're gonna spend time reaching out to clients or prospects to turn into potential clients, you might as well get paid for your effort on that side. And that doesn't mean that you have to come swinging out the gate and charge 10 grand, but at least enough to cover the time for you and your sister to be able to do this, I think is certainly thing number one, if that makes sense. Secondarily, on top of that, I think that just from the beginning of the conversation, where your biggest area of opportunity is you need to really focus in on what your offer is. People need, like, especially businesses, the only thing they're going to be driven by is like ROI. And I understand, because I've been in marketing for 10 years, that, your brand matters to connect with your audience, because that's a lot of the reason they're going to choose you over another competition. But you have to be able to say that specifically to a business owner in terms of ROI. For example, and I'm just pulling these numbers out of my ass, so don't quote me on it. Like, obviously do the research on that side. But if you're going to try to sell them on a service, you need to be able to say that, like, again, making up these numbers, 54% of people spend, 3 times as much money with brands they resonate with than brands they don't. So if your brand doesn't resonate with your end consumer, the likelihood that A, they're going to choose you, or B, spend any amount of like worthwhile money with you is significantly lower. So you need to really focus in on dialing in your offer. And then by making your offer super clean and ROI focused, your outreach will work better, because the offer is going to be in there like something about ROI, which is the only thing that business owners give a shit about. Like, I would imagine that all three of us here are in the same position. The only things that we would invest in are things that would make us more money. And so you have to paint that picture really clear, and that'll make your outreach easier. It'll make your sales process a lot easier, and your ability to charge people a lot easier. Because if I can say, hey, our branding service will increase your conversions 20% over the next 3 months. Well, let's say you make $1 million a year, 20% of that is 200K. Well, over the next, 3 months, you can make a couple, 200 grand more. And I'm only going to charge you $1,000 for that, right? Wouldn't a 20 times ROI be great for you? And of course they're going to say yes. So main things for you right now, I would say offer really needs to be dialed in and ROI focused. You need to charge. And I would challenge your belief on I do agree with you that familiarity breeds trust for sure, but just being in the same like area as you does not necessarily make them familiar with you, because they don't know you yet, right? Like, you're reaching out to them for the first time. This is the first time they've heard of you. And so what makes people trust you is your ability to show them that A, you know what the hell you're talking about, and B, you do great work, and C, that other clients have trusted you. So if I'm you and I'm in your shoes right now, what I would do is I would dial in that offer, figure out what it is. I would get the clients that you did free work for to give you some sort of review or testimonial. Video's great, but even text works, whatever. Build it on Trustpilot, like set up a Trustpilot account, so that way they're starting to see, like, because Trustpilot's legitimate, right? People don't think it's BS reviews, because obviously that's a big issue with reviews. People think they're fake. And so build it on Trustpilot. And then that way, when you reach out, you can say, hey, we helped XYZ company do this. We helped XYZ company do this. And if you're also looking for that kind of stuff, then, I'd love to, chat for 15 minutes or whatever, and see if this might possibly be a good fit for you. So those would be my 3 things, if I'm in your shoes, that I would focus on. Hopefully that makes sense. I feel like I said a lot of shit. So hopefully that
definitely that makes sense. I'll definitely look into making the offer with backing it up with some stats and everything. The other thing I wanted to ask is about targeting leads and pre-qualifying them. So
yep.
I don't know what the scene is in terms of like Instagram, Facebook in Texas, but Dallas is a big city, so I imagine it would be much better. I'm from a small city in the north of England.
Another reason to branch out of your city, just by the way, you're limiting the amount of businesses that there are significantly. There's way more people in the UK than there are just in your small town. So I would highly recommend moving. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So It's about finding businesses which are sort of within our target audience, which is retail and commerce, but sort of what the scene is, at least in my area. Obviously, I'll try now to reach out further, but the sort of scene in my area is a lot of trade and construction. And just with this sort of trade and construction, what my belief is that people don't really need to resonate with a trade and construction brand. They just look for the best quality at the
Agreed.
cheapest price.
Agreed.
So it's a thing of when doing lead generation and finding these businesses, what questions should I be asking to determine, is this a business, is this a brand that's looking to grow and is actively looking to build a community around their product?
Yeah. Couple of things there. On the point of community around the product, I get what you're saying because, again, I've been in marketing for 10 years, but you have to put yourself in the shoes of the business owner and think about the things that they want. So much of your qualification and getting people to like even respond in the first place is putting your messaging in terms that matter to them, right? And so I would, when you're reaching out, I wouldn't say things about building a community. Again, I would make it ROI focused on that side. But I would start with, in your messaging, in your outreach, you said you're doing cold DMs. So it's the same thing if you're doing cold calls or cold emails or whatever. I would specify, like, find a list of the people, like find the businesses that you want to work with, retail and commerce, whatever else. And when you reach out to them, tell them that you directly work with these types of businesses. Qualify them like yourself by going, hey, okay, we help retail and commerce businesses increase their sales by 20% by, branding or whatever else. We helped XYZ company do this. Can I send you more info? And like, just leave it at that. And so on the front end, the people that are interested in growing their sales are the ones who are going to respond. And so they're already pre-qualified because they even respond to that message in the first place. So be super direct with your offer and what you're offering them, what you want to do with them or whatever. And the people that respond are the ones who are interested in doing that thing. You're going to get, most people are not going to respond, but that's okay. You don't need everybody to respond. You just need enough to obviously get some calls booked and then close on those calls. Right. Hopefully that makes sense. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. If they respond, they're already actively looking to grow their business. So it's sort of pre-qualifying. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, 1,000%. And there's more you can do on the like qualification side, like before you get on the call. But even just like, I think for you right now, like the main thing you need to just focus on is just getting these calls booked by dialing in that offer and doing more outreach and expanding the area that you target. And if you focus on that, you'll get some responses and you'll be able to work it from there.
Right, fair enough. Just and once you've booked them on a call and you're discussing with them their direction that they want to head in, what sort of questions would I ask them in terms of ROI and business, etc.?
Yeah, for sure.
To determine whether they would be a good fit for us or not.
Well, what would make a company a good fit for you?
Again, it's that sort of the connection with their community sort of thing.
You're going to have to be, and I'm like, I want to make sure that I preface with this. I don't want, like, I'm not trying to be harsh or whatever, but you're going to have to get way more specific on that because like the things that you need to, like, I think, and this will help you dial in your offer. You need to figure out who are your ideal client. And you say, hey, it's businesses in retail and commerce, but there's 1,000 different businesses in retail and commerce. And retail and commerce, like, is it e-commerce online? Is it brick and mortar, like in person? Like what does that look like? Is it businesses that are doing, $100 million a year? Is it businesses that are doing $1 million a year and looking to kind of grow from there? Is it businesses doing $100,000 a year? Like the different levels of that, you need to really dial in, and you can use ChatGPT for this. And I did this all the time. I did it for this community that I'm in right now. And I would just say like, hey, I would type in a ChatGPT, hey, I own a branding agency and we deliver XYZ services. We want to focus on like retail and commerce businesses. Help me build ICPs, ideal client profiles around this that would be most likely to respond and want my services that'll help them grow their sales or whatever. If you do that, ChatGPT should be able to help you kind of figure out some of your ICPs. And then that helps you dial in your marketing, because the thing, especially, this has been true for a while, but like, especially in these day and age with as many agencies as there are, as many people that are reaching out with these types of services, if if I get a message, and I have this happen to my DMs all the time, I respond to messages when I look at the message and I go, holy shit, like this is exactly for me. This is the exact thing that I'm struggling with right now and the exact thing that I need. And if it's not like, if this message does not resonate with me, like specifically, I'm not going to respond. I'm going to move on with my day because it's like, it's not that enticing to me. And so really like the goal with outreach is you got to get somebody to read something and go, holy shit, like this is actually the thing that we've been missing. Right. And so I think that's where you'll have a lot of, uptick if you kind of define who it is that you're talking for, who that offer is. And then once you get them on the call, I mean, it's, I'm putting together a bunch of stuff for sales scripts, but it's a whole lot of just asking about like, well, what are you currently doing? Like, do you feel like your current branding is kind of holding you back from being able to connect with your customers? Do you feel like your current branding is holding you back from making sales, differentiating yourself from your competition? Like, I would ask questions that make them talk to you about the pain that they feel because their branding sucks. And
Right.
you have to figure out what are the negative consequences of having shitty branding. And whatever those are the things that you ask questions about. You get them to vocalize. And oftentimes you get them to have that epiphany, like on the phone. They go, well, I never really thought about it like that. I never really thought that like our branding is the reason that people are going to our competition over us. But maybe it is. And that's where you have the ability to go, yeah, what we actually see is that 54% of customers choose companies because they're whatever the hell the statistic is. So that's what I would say.
Right, fair enough. And yeah, you mentioned about sales scripts that you're working on them. Just a quick one, if you don't mind. What sort of sales?
We'll get to you, I promise.
What sort of sales scripts have you seen work for you?
I did almost all of the sales for our agency for about 4 years. I tested a lot of scripts. I tested a lot of different things. I'm very heavy on a super concise like discovery process. Like, tell me about what you're doing. Tell me about why. Like, first thing I say to my mouth is like, hey, well, glad to get the opportunity to chat. Can you tell me a little bit about like what you were hoping to get out of this call, or like what we can do, and like dive into that problem specifically. And then just kind of ask questions, like I said, about the things that they're doing currently, then the things that, they feel are kind of their roadblocks or the things that are holding them back. And then just transition into, we hear from a lot of companies that, this is what it is. We also hear that, a lot of companies kind of struggle with this thing. Would you mind if I share my screen and walk through a couple things, and have like a deck put together, a little slideshow, walks through the 3 main points. It's funny, Bylum kind of talked about this on the last call. You walk through the 3 main like things that you do that are going to help them differentiate themselves, increase their sales, whatever. And then you just make your offer. And so discovery process is pretty simple. And this is actually a good reminder for me. I'm going to post a thing in the group. I'll probably do it tomorrow, about the phases of a discovery process. But really what it is like, clarify why they're here, label them with the problem, overview their past pain, sell them the vacation, explain away all their concerns, and then reinforce that this is the right decision. That's a framework from Alex Hormozi. Closer works great. Built all my sales scripts around it, tested 1,000 different things, and that, inside of that works really well. So that's what it is. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Cool.
And just sort of in terms of cold outreach, is there something that you've seen that gets more responses than others?
A super direct offer that's very specific to your ICP that they resonate with is always going to win. Our first 100-ish clients came from cold DMs, just me on IG all day. I used to do more of a process of just trying to build a relationship of like, I would just respond to a story and we would talk back and forth, and then I would just start to ask them questions about their business and like, oh, have you ever considered this? Like, we sold ads and creative, so I said like, so what are you currently doing to get more leads? Kind of like the beginning of a sales call. And then I would ask them what they're doing, and then I would tell them, hey, I actually have some experience with this, so if you want to maybe hop on a call, I can kind of walk through a couple things that we can do. But yeah, for you, I would say, and this is another great reminder, so I appreciate that. I gotta post some. I'm gonna make a note of this. I appreciate it. Outreach scripts, sales script breakdown. Okay, yeah. And so I would say for you, It's the same thing. Dial in the offer, dial in the ICP, and then send them direct messages that are just like, hey, here's what we do. Can I send some more info? And then if they say yes, then you know, a lot of what works really well is to do like a Loom video. You can kind of go over their website. You can kind of walk about like, and this is different services have different process for this, but for branding specifically, I'd walk through their website and go, here are some areas of opportunity that I see that you can have. And here's something that we did for another client before and after. And here's the result that they had. I think you might be able to be a good fit for this. I'm not really sure, but if you're interested, we can hop on a call, chat for 15 minutes, no pressure, but I can walk you through what we do and you can kind of decide if you think this is a good fit. I always err on the side of like, take away all of their resistance, make them feel like there's no pressure, because then they'll be willing to open up to you. If you come across as like the pushy sales guy, you can still close being a pussy aggressive sales guy, but they will shut down. They'll have a lot of resistance and it makes the process significantly more difficult and you close at a lower rate overall. So yeah, just try to do that.
Yeah, fair enough. I got you. I'll be looking forward to the 2 posts on outreach and sales scripts. But that's all from me today. So yeah, thank you.
Cool, man. I hope that it was helpful. Bylan,
Very
what's
helpful.
up, dude?
What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Man, I'm chilling. It's a little cold in Texas today, or 62 is cold for me. So I'm doing all right. I'm inside with the sweater on, so I feel good.
Bro, I walked outside this morning like at 5 and I was like, damn.
Yeah, it's cold out here.
Yeah.
So last week we talked about lead generation stuff, ad stuff, landing page stuff. You'd send me your script, talk to me about what's happened since our last call, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah. So as far as the creative goes, I sent you the script already. So basically, based on your feedback, we're going to go ahead and record that. Well, we got some B-roll and stuff like that, so we're planning to use all that first. So that's that. And then as far as the sales pitch, I actually laid out our own kind of pitch as well. So that's good. And then also the sales process. So everything that we discussed, it's about ready to go. So
nice. Okay, cool. Well, let's go through that. Let's go through that script you sent me. You cool if I share my screen and show it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me find your message here. Okay, share screen, tab, boom. All right, can y'all see that?
Yeah.
Okay. I do like the question as the opening. My first recommendation, and maybe you're already doing this, so you know, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here. I would find 5 to 10 different openings like this with questions and test a bunch of different ones. Use that as the hook, and then just, you know, you do video, so you know this. Like, you can just take that first 3 to 5 seconds and then cut different variations of it, and then add the rest of the text. Because with ads, like, number one thing, you just got to get their attention for the first 3 seconds. You do creative, so I know you know this, but I would test a bunch of different ones on that. I do like this as mediocre. You just seeing cookie cutter content hurting your sales growth. I think that's good. I would also test some ones around, like, did you know that most brands you know, CPA explodes when they start using UGC? Or did you know that 9 out of 10 brands pay for UGC that falls flat on its face? Or I would go super heavy anti-UGC, because that is the number one like trend in the industry right now. And so I would test a bunch of different hooks that focus around that question based. So I think that's good first. I think this is good. This makes sense. I like that you have these examples. One thing that I noticed is, like, if you're ever going to use results, testimonials, whatever, be super specific. Like, their sales grew significantly. Like, what does that mean? Right? Because people are going to want to know what that means, right? So specificity will be super, super important there. Yeah, I mean, I think the rest of it is good. I think those are the 2 main things. Is I would just test a bunch of hooks. I would be super specific inside of it, but I think that the direction that you're going is right. The truth of the matter is you're going to have to put this together and put it out there and test it and kind of see what the response is. Most people, like, average watch time on Facebook is 8 seconds. And so most people aren't even going to see the back half of the shit anyway, but that's okay. So we just want to put a lot of attention up on the front end. So yeah, test a bunch of different hooks with that. Be super specific. Run it for, 7 to 10 days. See what the response looks like.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yep. Short and sweet on that one.
Yeah.
I wanted to put some thoughts together beforehand, but yeah,
Mhm.
man.
Okay.
What else you got going on?
Yeah. So just a few other questions. I'll be quick.
You're good. We got till 30 minutes, and it's just the two of y'all, so we can talk
Yeah.
about whatever the fuck you want. Derrick Rose just retired, so hey, I'm
Really?
crying over here. Yeah,
Oh,
Derrick Rose retired today. I'm from Memphis, right? He played for the Tigers and he played
yeah.
for the Grizzlies, and so I'm sad, but that's okay.
Hey, man. I thought he retired a long time ago.
That's disrespectful, but that's okay.
No, no offense, bro.
No worries.
Yeah. But yeah, so if you were at 15 and 20K a month and you had to scale to 100K a month by the end of this year, what would your next 90 days look like in terms of your schedule?
Damn, I wish you would have told me that beforehand that you were going to ask such an in-depth question. Okay, you said my schedule, so like my daily time. Is that what you're asking?
1 second. It's kind of loud over there. But yeah, so like what would your main focus of every day be in order to get to that point? Assuming maybe you're taking the sales calls or stuff like that, but you do have the delivery side down and you have a team for that.
Got it. That's the fun side. I would spend all of my time promoting and selling. So I would in the mornings, I know you've done some cold DMs. I know you do some ad stuff too. I would spend my mornings just doing outreach, cold DMs, or whatever method it is.
Yeah.
I'm going to just adjust this to whatever time that you wake up, but I'm doing like 8 to 12, just straight outreach every day. Or if you're making ads, I would be making ad content, testing different hooks, testing different copy, like all that kind of stuff. That's what we do in the morning. And then I would have my calendar open like all the rest of the day, probably 12 to 6. Like if you're trying to scale from 15 to 100K in 90 days, like you're going to have to put in some work. And so I would do like 8 to 12 promote outreach, and then 12 to 6 open for sales calls. If you don't have any sales calls during that time, I would pick up the phone and I would call old leads that you have, people that haven't closed, or people that you had a sales call with who didn't close, or just people who opted in but you never had a book call with. I would be doing direct outreach to them, giving them phone calls, and just trying to either rebook those people into calls, or that's what I would do. If you just catch somebody, and that's just a tip that I learned the hard way, is if you call somebody and you catch them on the phone, don't try to and it's not planned. Don't try to sell them on your service right there, because that they're not in the right mode to think about that right now. But I would be doing promotion, sales, follow up. Like that's where I'd spend all my time, since like you said, most of the delivery is already done. Like that's what I'd be doing, and then I'd probably fit in a workout somewhere in there, because this is a high stress time, and so you're going to need to blow off some steam. So I'm a morning guy. If you're a morning, evening guy, whatever works for you, I fit in that, and then I try to get some rest, try to get some good sleep, because you got to have your energy for this. Big mistake that I made was thinking that 5 hour a night sleep was like, I'm hustle Gary V grind dude, and like that's super cute for a couple of weeks. Then you feel like shit. Then you're bad on your sales calls. Your motivation's down. Your discipline's down. Whatever. So I would say like 4 hours promotion, 6 hour sales. Get some energy out through working out. Get good sleep. Try to focus on like eating as well as you can, because obviously food is fuel, and I'm not like some nutrition guy. Like kind of a bigger dude, so like whatever, but just enough to focus on that. And I would just focus most of my time on that. Saturdays are a really good time to call business owners, because they are usually not working as much. 9 to 5 for your clients, they're doing shit, right? Like they run businesses, they're busy. And so I would take any opportunities. Like that 6 to 8 p.m. is really good for reaching out to business owners. And then Saturday mornings are really good for reaching out. Again, just for but again, that's not really the time you want to try to have a whole sales call, but just the time that you're trying to book in for the next call. That's a really good time for that. So that's what I would do weekdays. Weekends, I would spend this is what I would do every Sunday, is like I would list out all my prospects that I'm working on. I'd list out all the deals that I have open. I'd list out, here's what I did last week that I thought was really good. Here's the things that I wasted time on that I don't need to do again. And then just kind of get yourself in the right mode on Sunday to walk into Monday with a good plan.
Okay.
What I would do.
Cool. Appreciate that.
Yeah. That was my life for like fucking 4 years. So.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. But hey, cool. It was cool until the agency burned down. But hey, we don't
Yeah.
talk about that.
Yeah,
Gotta
definitely.
go to therapy for that one.
Oh, right.
Cool.
Yeah. Just two more quick questions.
No, you're good, man.
So in terms of the creative, so we went over the copy and all that. Now, if we wanted to kind of just use B-roll and past shoots and all that, do you think that would suffice for this type of creative, or would you recommend to actually go in and like set everything up and do like an actual production for this type of?
You mean like, should you? I just want to make sure I understand the question. Are you asking me in your creative, is showing B-roll from past shoots and work that you've done, is that good, or do you need to shoot a whole new ad for this?
Yeah, that's the question.
I think that in your specific case, because what you do is ad creative, I think the B-roll actually works really well. Because one of the things that I'm a big believer in is showing, not just telling. And by like showing you doing, especially if you have like behind the scenes B-roll of like your videographers out there, like doing the
Yeah.
thing, whatever, like that works really well. And then if you notice from that ad that I'd sent you, like we shot all that stuff, but it is kind of just a bunch of B-roll, but a voiceover with text over the top of it, right? And I like the really fast paced, fast cut stuff because again, we live in this world where everybody's attention span is zero. I think I'm going to run an ad where I have myself talking with like the Minecraft stuff underneath it where the people are jumping, whatever, some of that brain rot shit. We'll see how it works. Probably, do I think it's good for the culture? Probably not, but will it work on an ad? We'll find out. So anything that you can do to keep their attention, I think is good. But yeah, the B-roll behind the scenes stuff, if you're talking about what you're doing while showing them what you do, I think that will work really well for you.
Okay.
Yep. And also what I would do just in your ad creation process is use the stuff that you already have to create a bunch of different versions of ads, different hooks, different body copy, test a bunch of stuff. And then whichever one is the winner, that's the script that you then take and shoot a whole thing for. So before you invest all the time, energy, resources, whatever, into building this whole production scene, test a bunch of different concepts, figure out what works, then like shoot. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because last year we actually shot, it wasn't a super high-end production, but it was something. And that ended up not working at all. So we did all this and
I had one time where the people that I worked with convinced me to get into a mermaid suit to talk about how we reel in the big fish at ATD or like whatever. And I did it and we spent a whole day, we rented out a thing, we did all that, ran the ad for 7 days and then turned it off and never ran it again. So I just got to get in a mermaid suit in front of everybody for no reason. And then we trashed the ad. So yes, I think that you make a good point.
Yeah, man. But cool. So I think that's everything on my end. I had another question, but it went out of my head. So
no, it's all good. Well, if you have another one, just let me know. You got anything there, T?
You were mentioning about contacting business owners. How do you get through to the business owner without like sort of gatekeeper in between? Is that like doing some digging on before you contact them, or?
Yeah, a couple of things. If your primary method is going to be cold DMs, what I used to do is when I would find our main client that we serve was e-commerce. And so what I would do is I would just go on Instagram and I would find e-commerce brands that looked like they had some shit going on. And then I would take the brand and then I would Google the brand and like look for the CEO or look for the owner or whatever. And then I would look for the owner's Instagram profile and reach out to them directly. So the answer to like, how do you get past the gatekeeper is you don't contact the gatekeeper. You put in like front end effort to find who the owner is and reach out to them directly. If you were doing cold calls, that's kind of a different scenario there. But even with cold calls now, you can find the business owner's like personal cell phone and reach out. But yeah, what I would do is I would find the business owner specifically and reach out to them specifically. DMing brands, like, if you DM, if I DM Athletic Greens, like I'm going to talk to their marketing manager or it's going to be automated or something. But if I find the owner of Athletic Greens, we can actually have a chance of having that conversation. So, yeah, that's what I would do.
Okay, fair enough. Do you, and other than Instagram, Do you find any other platforms to be useful other than Instagram, Facebook?
Yeah, LinkedIn kicks ass for like cold outreach. LinkedIn is very good for cold outreach.
Okay, and how would you go about using LinkedIn for cold outreach? Same
Yeah,
sort
kind
of.
of. Yeah, same sort of cadence. I would first you got to build up your like LinkedIn profile, not build up like have a bunch of followers or whatever, but you just got to have a bunch of info on there about what it is that you do and who you are and the services that you offer. If you can get a bunch of connections, like that's great. If you can get a bunch of different things on there, that's awesome. What's up, man? Dr. Miller. We had our conversation earlier, and some of that's posted in the group if y'all want to watch it. You got a really nice setup, by the way. You're kicking my ass here. So on LinkedIn, I would do same similar thing, right? It's define that ICP, define what the direct offer is, and then just reach out the same way. So whether you're doing cold DMs, cold email, LinkedIn, like the messaging is fairly similar, the process is fairly similar. So yeah, I wouldn't change up too much on that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and the thing you just have to keep in mind, like when you're doing cold outreach, is every one of your competitors and people who are not your competitors are DMing CEOs every day. Like I get 1,000 messages a day across all these different platforms, and so the question that you have to ask yourself is like, how do I make myself like different? How do I stand out? How do I position my service in a way that it makes it different from everything that everyone else is doing?
Gotcha. Fair enough.
That would be the same thing. Nice. All right. I feel like we've gone through a lot of questions today. What's up, Camille? You got anything you want to ask? Anything you want to add?
No, I just watched that ad you sent me, and it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's fire, right?
Yeah, I love that. I can
We
see why it
had,
worked.
yes, we had a very talented creative director who made that. Roman, super good dude. But yeah, we put about 600K behind that one single ad once
Wow.
we found out that it worked. So yeah. Violet and I were talking about some ad creative for him too. So when I upload this recording, there's probably some stuff in there that you can take away that you might find
Awesome.
helpful.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Heck yeah. All right. Well, any other questions? What's on your mind?
Yeah, I have one.
What's up?
So when it comes to scripting the ads for e-commerce brands and all that good stuff, were you the one doing it? Did you have your creative director doing it, or did you have a copywriter?
So I think we had 7 copywriters on staff, and I tried all of the copywriters to write the copy for the scripts. And what I found is while these copywriters were good copywriters, nobody understood our avatar and our client as well as I did. And so I am a big believer that like the better that you understand the avatar and the pain points they have, the better your ability to speak to them directly is going to be, which is why I put so much emphasis on like defining who your ideal client is and what their pain points are. So I wrote all the scripts. I did all the hooks. Like we had in collaboration because I had some partners, we had media buyers, and we had different stuff. So like it wasn't just me like in a room by myself doing it. Like we had some collaboration on it, but ultimately, like most of the time, it came down to I'm gonna write this, bounce some ideas off people, see if we want to make some changes, throw it in the ad account, test it, and see what works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask why you asked that? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, because right now I'm scripting all of the ads and creatives and stuff for our clients. And I mean, I've tried, the approach that you're talking about, just hiring people internally from the team to like lay that out. And I found that it may be good, but they don't really understand, e-commerce the hooks and all that when it comes
Yep.
to e-commerce and stuff. So
Yeah, 1,000%. And like, keep in mind that, I think that different people have different ways of doing stuff, but a lot of people will tell you, hey, you need to offload as much work as you can. Like you need to have your team do it or whatever. But for the things that are the most important, like i.e. revenue generating activities, like the lifeblood of any agency is going to be generating leads and closing those leads. And so for the first several years, like I'm doing all that because if this part doesn't work, the rest doesn't work. And what I also want to be able to do is like when I want to bring in an SDR, when I want to bring in a salesperson, I need to know really well, like what scripts work, what ads work. Like we have to have the system built, and it's really hard to train somebody on it if you haven't done it yourself. And so that's why I see all these offers about like, we'll get you fucking 20 appointment setters and we'll close all your deals for you and all that. And like, that's, great, I guess. And apparently a lot of people like that. But the issue becomes, if you don't understand your own sales process, you don't understand how to get your own leads and close your own deals, then when that agency goes away or whatever, or for whatever reason, they're not there, if you start losing clients, you're not going to be able to refill that pipeline. And it's going to be really hard for you to bring somebody in and train them because you don't understand that shit yourself. And so, like, I'm a big believer that you need to build most of your, I'm a huge believer that, like, there are a lot of people out there that give lots of good information. It's, like, good to pay for info and get all that stuff, like, so that you can skip some steps. But at the end of the day, you still got to do the work and sit there and build it yourself. Because if what you're trying to do is build a company that, like, doesn't implode on itself, you've got to have those systems, which is one of my issues with operations and, like, delivery. And I was telling you about this earlier, Camilo, like, our big thing was we crushed it in sales and didn't put as much emphasis on operations and deliverables. We hired an operations manager for $100,000 a year, and he was supposed to come in, but he was, like, from some big firm that, like, was enormous, and he didn't understand, like, building a startup. And so he put in systems that, like, we didn't really need, and we paid him a lot of money, and then the whole thing kind of, crashed. So all that rant to say, I think that, you spending the time to figure out what works for your company is probably the most valuable thing that you can do.
Yeah, that's good, because that's contrary to what a lot of agency owners will say, or course sellers. They're like, yo, we'll come in and we'll generate 10 appointments for you, or 20, and 10's free. I'm like, yo, that's cool and all, but, like, once they're gone, like you said, what's next?
Because they want your money. It's funny, I was telling you about this earlier, Camilo, like, every day, everybody comes in and they say, I got this new system, and if you don't use this system, this is the only system that works, and this is the only thing that works in 2024. And in a couple months, they'll say this is the only thing that works in 2025. It's like, that's bullshit. Like, agencies have existed since the early 1900s. Like, since TV became a thing, since print became a thing, there have been agencies that do this. I promise you, the Ogilvy Group, which is an agency worth $5 billion, don't have no fucking low ticket funnels. Like, excuse my French, but they don't use that stuff. They know how to get people to reach out to them, get on the phone, close the deal. Like, that's what they know how to do. And so all that fancy stuff can work. Appointment setters, we had appointment setters, but I hired them, I trained them because I set appointments for our agency. It's the same thing. So yeah, I would say there's a lot of noise out there, and most people are doing it because they want to take your money, and some of them are good and some of them are not. But if anybody says this is the only thing that works, they're probably full of shit, because a lot of things work. Like, I have a way that I like to do stuff, and it worked for me, but I'm not going to say this is the only way to do it, because I know there are other ways to do it. And I would just be lying if I said that this is my way is the only way.
Agreed. The best advice you gave me today was, if you're doing ads, then you should be running ads to sell ads.
Yeah, for sure.
Other than doing the cold email stuff that was doing.
100%. And I just thought about this, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but T, for you, right? Like, this show don't tell is a big belief that I have. And so what I've said for both of them, because they both run ad creative agencies, is if they want people to buy their ad creative, they need to have really good ad creative. So for you, if you're selling branding, what every potential customer is going to do is they're going to look at your stuff and go, how's this branding? Is your branding good? Because if your branding's not good, if you don't do it for yourself, how can I trust that you can do it for anyone else? If you sell websites and your website is shitty, why would I buy a website from you? You're telling me that your website sucks. I'm looking at it right now, right? And so I would say that another thing that you can do to boost your, like, social proof is put some good, and again, you may have already done this, but I would say that, like, if your branding needs to be stellar in order for people to go, because you need people to look at your brand and go, wow, that's really good. Like, I should probably talk to them because, I paid somebody $5 to make this logo 10 years ago, and maybe it's time for a revamp.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yep. So cool. Well, that's good. I'm having fun. I can talk about this shit all day.
Yeah, you definitely are in the right track of doing mentorship. Makes sense.
Well, cool.
It's a good story as well.
Well, thanks. A lot of trials and tribulations.
Yeah.
Not that I'm. Yeah. Not that I had a tough life or whatever. It's been fine. Everything's cool. But you live and you learn.
Piggyback off of, is it Camilo?
Camilo, yeah.
Yeah, to kind of piggyback off what he said, I think what makes you unique, Alex, is you've done it before. You've scaled your agency to 4 million. And when I see ads from agency owners and stuff like that, it's usually them only getting to like 5 grand or 10 grand a month. And it's crazy because the claims they make is like, it don't really match, bro. So I think you're definitely in that blue ocean right now because you've done what you're teaching. So
Well, I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, as you guys know, this community's new. Like, this is the second one of these calls that we've had, and so I know the agency space is really crowded, or at least there's a lot. I don't think it's as crowded as a lot of other spaces, but because agency guys run ads, they run a ton of ads, so you see it all the time. And so, I am trying to figure out where do I kind of fit in that landscape and where can I differentiate myself. So it's a lot of, a lot about what we talk about here, right? So. Yeah, just trying to figure it out. So I appreciate the feedback. So, and anything that you guys see or hear or you think might be useful for helping more agency owners not buy the BS that everybody else sells, that would be helpful for me.
Yeah, I think personally, I'm in one called Client Ascension, which is a
I know Andre.
Yeah, Andre. So they built a cold email agency. So they're kind of teaching everybody cold email and the agency for that. But me coming in, and there's a lot of guys that do video, a lot of stuff doesn't really translate as much. So when you said that you built an ads agency, I was like, oh, okay. And then everything you talked about made a lot of sense today. It was like, oh, you should just be doing ads because you do ad creatives. And your sales process is a lot more simpler than what I guess if you're a cold email agency, you have to do. So I think, yeah, just leaning into like what it was you built and the lessons you got makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, that's interesting, right? Because I would imagine Client Ascension teaches like to get clients to cold email, right?
Yeah, it's cold email, social media stuff, sales. We're a very good sales coach. But like he's teaching lead gen guys to do sales, right? And I'm here like, so what do I say here when I get this objection?
Yeah. No, I feel that, man. Yeah, I mean, it's whatever your strong suit is. That's the thing you should lean into, right? If you're good at branding, have a great brand. If you're good at creative, have a great creative. Like if you have an SEO agency, when I Google find a new SEO agency, you should be the first one. Because if I Google that and you're 3 pages down, you suck at SEO. Like I'm not going to pay you for it.
Yeah.
If you can't do it for yourself, it's really difficult for clients to believe that you can do it for them. Even if you have 1,000 testimonials, maybe that's different. But if you're not in the place where you have that, then maybe you should focus on your own stuff first.
Makes sense.
Yeah. You obviously approached me from Leo Morris's 1000x leads. What do you think about him, Alex?
I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea. I'm gonna shoot you straight always. I am in like 10 of these agency groups. One of my thought processes for how do I get people to join my group is there are other people that are already on school. So I'm going to join all the groups. I'm going to post the stuff that I'm posting in my group and other groups in hopes that people go, oh, wow, that's super helpful. And then if they respond, I'm going to reach out. Like, I not to break the fourth wall here, but I kind of did it to you, right? Like I posted something. You responded to it. I reached out and I was like, hey man, like, I don't really know like where you're at, but I have an agency group that you might find helpful. And so if you want, I can send you some more info. You can join and you're like, yeah, that'd be great. And then you're here now. So yeah, I mean, it's just, it's another thing. It's just finding out where your customers live. Most of them are on Instagram and Facebook. So if you're running ads, that's pretty easy. They all have email inboxes and they all, are on Google. So depending on what you do is kind of how you would approach that. But yeah, man. I don't know him specifically. Maybe he's cool. I haven't really looked into any of his stuff.
He was a coach in Client Ascension. He was one of the first coaches there. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
He's pretty smart. And but Matthew Larson, he's like ridiculously like obsessed with the agency stuff. So you can kind of tell.
Okay.
But yeah, so his whole thing is teaching that funnel, right, for everybody, because he had a landing page agency.
Okay. That makes sense.
And then he teaches the like low ticket ads, like not just cold email, but also have loads of lead magnets and have loads of paid products and capture all of the market essentially. So you get 1,000 leads, which makes sense why he's pushing that a lot. But I know guys in the program. I think it's a good product.
Nice.
I guess like it just depends again what you're strong
Cool.
at.
Yeah, for sure. I would also say like I'm a big believer in keeping the main thing. And so one of the things that I was tempted with and fell into and did and wasted time on was like what our agency did was we made great creative and we sold it at a high ticket package, right? And then we ran ads as an upsell. But then I spend my time trying to make these little products and sell these little things that were $27, $47, $97, whatever. And that's great for making little streams of revenue. But if I had put all the time that I had spent like making little products to make $30 into just like getting more leads and staying on the phone and closing more deals, like we grow significantly quicker. And so it's like I'm and I think another kind of issue in the marketing space right now is shiny object syndrome is nothing new, but because there's so many ads that are pitching so many different things, it's really easy for agency owners to go, well, if I don't do low ticket funnels and a VSL and a DSL and a book and call funnel, and if I don't do all these different things, then I'm missing out on opportunity. I completely disagree. I think like find one channel, focus all your efforts on that. And if you want to make that low ticket stuff, that's fine, I guess, for you. But if like the goal is I want more agency clients, just focus on getting agency clients or potential agency clients on the phone and getting them to sign a contract. Like that's where your energy should be spent. Not making a $27 Canva swipe file. No shade. Not talking shit because he had a $27 Canva swipe file or how much it cost. Not talking shit. Just joking a little bit. Yeah, okay. There you go.
$59.
There you go. Instead of doing that, just focus on, get more people on the phone. So that's what I'd say.
Agreed. Yeah. Thank you. Definitely gonna try that.
Sounds good. Hell yeah. Well, cool. We're coming up on the time. So any closing thoughts or anything I can do for you guys while we're still here?
Camilo, where are you from? Sorry.
Colombia.
Colombia. Nice.
What about you?
I'm from the UK.
Oh, I mean, I live in London. but
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
from Colombia.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No. I'm
Yeah.
from the UK.
Whereabouts in the UK?
Lancashire, north of the UK.
Lancashire. Nice. Never
Yeah.
been. I don't go to the the places that end in share that much.
Fair enough.
It's way over my head, bro. I'm in Texas. We got none of that. I don't know nothing about shires or nothing. Sounds like Lord of the Rings.
And Balin, where you from?
I'm actually in the same area as Alex.
sick.
So Dallas, Fort Worth.
Hell yeah.
Love that. I want to go
Dallas is
to.
what it is.
I've
bro.
only been to Vegas and New York.
Nice. Did you
That's
lose a lot of money gambling? Did you find yourself a lady of the night?
No, I was there for a car show event because a lot of the videos I was doing on YouTube were like car edits,
Okay.
and that's what I went. Yeah, got recognized though. That was cool.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty cool. Pretty dope.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Alex.
guys. Well, this has been fun. I will upload this recording today so that y'all have it. In the meantime, if there's anything I can do for you, just let me know.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
No worries. Thank you.
Yep.
Bye,
All
everyone.
right, y'all. Peace out.
Peace out.